What's good, YouTube? It's your boy RJ, and today we're going to be checking out a topic called AAVE. For the people who don't know what AAVE it is called African American Vernacular English, and what that is basically different words that black people usually use in our culture. That is usually when you hear these different words, you attribute it to black culture. It's very synonymous with black culture. Words like finna, it's lit, turned up, screet, different things like that, and words like that are African American vernacular. Now, should people from other cultures who are not black be allowed to use AAVE? We're going to dive into the topic. Before we get into the video, go ahead, like the video and subscribe to support the channel. It's free and it's super helpful for an up and coming YouTuber like myself.
So apparently people need a video series on AAVE and why it's wrong to be a culture vulture that exploits it for clout. So AAVE is an acronym for African American Vernacular English, and it's a dialect of English that formed in the South amongst enslaved black Americans, was passed down for generations, and moved throughout the country as we did. According to research from Oxford, its formation was first recorded all the way back in 1734. AAVE includes both grammatical structures and vocabulary, commonly mislabeled as slang, that both follow tradition and are constantly evolving.
I hate the fact that this dude just said commonly mislabeled as slang. That's literally what it is. It's when you take a base language and you alter it slightly depending on what culture you come from or what neighborhood you come from, even with geographical location. To say that it's commonly misused as slang, see, this is what people that follow this guy's ideology, I can't stand about them, because they're so disingenuous about their ideas and their opinions. You are cool with learning an entire culture of somebody else's history, but then when somebody uses yours or learns about yours, you get an issue with it. You automatically use this victim mindset as if everybody in the world is out to get you. Most people don't care that deeply. There is no secret, hidden, mysterious boogeyman out here trying to get you every time you get your feelings hurt. A lot of the times it's your own perspective. People say AAVE, white people shouldn't use it. Hispanic, Asian people shouldn't use it because that's culture appropriation. They got their head in this weird space and it got this throwed off mindset about everything. And people like this, it's hard for them to get ahead because they never take their own accountability. They never just look at it for what it is. It's somebody who appreciates your culture, that envies your culture, and takes little bits and pieces that they can. Usually vocabulary is one of the things that they mimic, and they use it in their own day-to-day life. You don't always have to get offended by that, right? It's a difference between someone mimicking you, which is a sign of flattering, and mocking you and making fun of you. That's a whole different conversation. Now they're using your language against you and they're being derogatory and they're making fun of you. But if they're just simply using the words, nothing wrong with that. You should be proud that somebody else from a different culture wants to mimic you. They want to be you in a certain way. They want to use your words. See, people like this, they so disingenuous, man. Let's continue.
Those of us who grew up exposed to AAVE can intuitively tell when it's spoken right, spoken wrong, and spoken inauthentically. It's like if I moved to Sweden and started speaking Swedish even for the rest of my life, no matter how hard I tried, native speakers would be able to tell that I didn't grow up speaking Swedish because they would have generations of cultural context that I don't have. And it's the same thing for AAVE, which is why we know when a lot of you guys are faking it or forcing it. 2, for centuries, black people have been oppressed and demeaned for using AAVE. Like in schools, children are told that speaking AAVE isn't proper or legitimate. In 1979, a lawyer successfully sued the Ann Arbor School District because black students are facing academic discrimination because they spoke AAVE.
Now, we all know in 1979, America was a totally different place. And I hate people like this because they got to go back that far just to find some evidence that someone was being discriminated against legitimately because of the way that they spoke. See, today it's a totally different world, right? We still deal with racism. We still deal with discrimination, but it's not strong enough to stop you from being successful today. And to be honest, the people who still discriminate and who are still racist are usually worse off than you. And that's the only thing that they can stand on to make themselves feel better because they insecure. But to always say that, oh, it always has to go back to race or it always has to go back to someone appropriating you is just foolishness. It's just foolishness. This is what's being taught in schools today. That if you're black, you can do no wrong. And it's always racism and it's always discrimination. But if you're white, you're the devil. I look at these white people today. They didn't slave me. They didn't have me chained up, hanging from a noose. Now, does it still happen? In certain parts of the world, yes, it does. But here in America, we don't have those problems today. And they want to drag out this PTSD from our ancestors. It's okay to go back and reflect on the pain and suffering that they went through for me to be here today. But we don't have to constantly relive it. We don't have to constantly be stuck in this mindset as if we're the ones that went through that. We can learn from it, we can grow from it, and then we can look at how we can better ourselves. But if you look at the black community today, it looks like a plantation. If you go to the hood, it looks like a plantation. People don't take care of they yards, they houses. There's all type of abandoned buildings everywhere. It's trash all in the streets. Matter of fact, I was driving around the block and there was an Arabic guy who owns, and mind you, this is in the hood. There was an Arabic guy who was opening up his store. It was probably 8 o'clock in the morning. The man took his broom, swept the trash up from in front of his store and swept it into the streets. Now, if I go to the suburbs, they're going to pick the trash up and throw it in the trash can. But this is the mindset that we have in the hood. And it's people like this that will never talk about that. They'll talk about a white person using the word, let's kick it. But they won't talk about how when you drive into a black neighborhood, ain't nobody taking care of the damn neighborhood. You see dope fiends everywhere. See, this is that disingenuous stuff I was talking about. Let's continue.
Even more recently, Rachel Jeantel, who was giving a key testimony about Trayvon Martin's killing, was speaking in AAVE and subsequently had her testimony ignored and called not credible. According to a Stanford linguist, this was a factor in George Zimmerman's not guilty verdict.
This is what you call educated fools. You got somebody that is a educated, specific study in linguistics saying that a person's testimony in a trial was literally deemed not credible because the way that they speak. Well, maybe did you listen to the words in the story that person was telling and decided, hey, this story doesn't make sense. We can't use this as a defense. It doesn't make sense. It's plenty of people who use ebonics, which is another term for AAVE, who use ebonics, who have given testimonies, and their testimony was totally credible because the facts that they were bringing and presenting to the court was actually able to be proven and actually was able to be used in a defense. For the specific case of Trayvon Martin, whoever that lady was, what she was saying, the actual facts that she was bringing to the court may have been debunked, or it just had too many holes in it to where they couldn't use it. It's not always the fact that, oh, she used the word, we got turned up the other night, instead of we had a party and we had fun. Well, oh, she used turned up, so now we can't use that in court. It's not always the case. People need to start using a brain. It's people like this that just, they sound so smart, but they really not talking about nothing, and they sound dumb as hell.
Black people in America specifically have been racialized on the idea that we are inherently lazy, poor, uneducated, or criminal. And thus, our use of AAVE has been stigmatized as sloppy, unprofessional, or ignorant. And that's simply not the case for non-black people who are seen as funny, sensational, or cool when they use it.
Everybody has stereotypes. Everybody has stereotypes. There's a stereotype about white men, that they're soft, that they're racist, that they're physically weak, right? Everybody has stereotypes that go against them, and then everybody has stereotypes that benefit them, right? There's another stereotype for black people, that we're fun to be around, we're turned up, we have a cool culture, we know how to rhyme really well, we always look good, we like to have a sense of fashion. Right, we keep ourselves together. There's also a stereotype as well that when that stereotype is used, nobody seems to have an issue with that. But whenever we get the negative, because there's always a negative to a positive, we want to act like we're the only ones in the world that have stereotypes against us. That's that stuff I be talking about. They want to paint this narrative. They want to draw this picture that makes us look like the victims and we can do no wrong, and it's the entire world against us. You are the one putting yourself in that box. Keep me out the box. I ain't in the box with you, brother. I know what's really going on here. I got my eyes open to what's going on, and I'm not going to call it woke. I'm going to just say I'm aware. Pay attention to these type of people. It's a stereotype for a reason. They have some type of truth behind them. To be honest, if I'm walking down the street and I see a group of 5 or 6 hoodlums walk in my direction, I'm across the street too. Yeah, I said it. I'm crossing the street too. Because if I have to get active, I need to be in a better position instead of directly in front of these guys. I got to start thinking strategically. I'm not going to see these hoodlums walking down the street. They looking crazy. They looking crazy on their face. They might be smoking. They might be doing whatever hoodlums do. And I'm going to just walk right past them as if I'm sweet or I'm not paying attention or they're my brothers. They're not going to do anything to me until you get bopped upside the head and your pockets ran and you looking stupid now. Yeah, your own people will do that to you. A lot of the times we do more to each other than anybody else does to us. And then when we do something to each other, ain't nobody got nothing to say. Everybody quiet. But soon as a white man do it, everybody, the whole country want to go up in a roar and start burning stores up, looting stores up. See, y'all twisted in the mind. Y'all throw it off in the head. Y'all not even paying attention to the real issues that's going on out here. And I got to start calling this stuff out. You got to call it how you see it. And I see a lot of suckers out here falling for the whoop and having this perspective that everybody that's not black is against them when they own people doing worse than anybody else from any other culture. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Do you think it's disrespectful if white people, Hispanic people, Asian people use AAVE, or do you see it as a sign of flattering, and are you appreciative of other people embracing our culture? Y'all know where I stand. I'm curious to see where y'all stand. Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down so I know what you guys enjoy. And subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I upload regularly. It's your boy RJ. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Deuces YouTube.